Hey guys, how's it going? It is I, the real Randy Chavez. What you just saw last was my my referral code. So everyone, this is an Earth 2 update video. If you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. I love you all. And that referral code really helps support the channel. Every time you use that, you buy land, you use it, you get 5% back, cash back. Everyone say hello to Dashi, hello Dashi. And Patreon down below as well. Now today I come and tell you that we are trying to be had. People are people don't care about us, the 99%, the wealthy and the elite. They like. I made a whole video about virtual gentrification. Gentrification, obviously, for those that don't know, is when people try to devalue the state or area of something, and then when things go down, they buy it up, they raise the prices, whatever. That's why I'm not selling. You know, this is the only thing I'm investing in right now is Bitcoin and Earth 2. And why I'm telling you like the elite don't care about us, it just came out an article before that currently right now banks and the elite are just focused on Bitcoin, which is good for us. It's good for us because they're just focusing on an additional cryptocurrency that we're not going to use in the game. There might be the option to pay for things with Bitcoin. There might be the option to say like, hey, yeah, we're going to use Bitcoin and Alice and Ethereum, but also our own virtual in-game currency as well. While they're focusing on that, and they're only allowing their wealthier clients access to Bitcoin, we want to keep them focused on that as long as possible. We don't want them into the virtual reality aspect, and I'll tell you why. Because the worldwide augmented reality and virtual reality industry is expected to reach $188 billion by 2027, according to researchandmarkets.com. Now, this is a little bit, I think, undervalued. I think this is going to be $1 trillion industry, I think, by 2030. Obviously, think this will have an S-curve. Goes as the same way the tiles, you know, the more tiles that are bought, higher it goes. This will have an S-curve as well. The S-curve will be with just augmented reality, virtual reality. And based on this article, saying the augmented reality and virtual reality market by type, content, Earth VR, Google Earth VR, King Spray Graffiti VR, Google Cardboard, Samsung, all of these people has been added to researchandmarket.com's offering. The augmented reality and virtual reality market size is projected to reach US dollar $188 billion by 2027. From US dollar, it's right now currently $15.3 billion in 2020, growing at a rate of 43.1% during 2021 to 2027. Now, like I said before, if you investing wise, if you go in the S&P 500, or the VOO or the SPY, you'll gain between 9 and 11% a year on average. Some years you'll gain 20%. Some years you'll lose. But on average, that's what you'll gain. Virtual reality is going to be what they say is 43.1% growth by average. I think that is 100% off. That is so off. That 100% doesn't even make sense because that's how off it is. I think it's going to be growing much, much quicker than that. Partly because, yeah, of Earth 2, but Earth 2 is not the only game. Obviously, you have Pokemon Go, that is a $1 billion game just by itself, not including the rest of Pokemon, but it's like $100 billion worth. I'm talking about just Pokemon Go, over $1 billion worth that reached that in a couple months. I think Grand Theft Auto 5 reached that in a couple days. So this augmented reality, as it gets better and it gets cheaper, mass adoption will happen. And Earth 2 is going to be at the forefront of that. We have other games like Dana White is trying to push this, I think, like Fight Night or something it's called. Basically, you're working out in virtual reality, which is great. But Earth 2, however, anything that you want, and anything that you want is going to be absolutely bananas. People just aren't ready for it. People aren't ready for Dubai. These servers are not ready for Dubai. So the devs, if you're listening, please put as much as you can in there, because right now, yeah, if you're gonna struggle with like 300,000-400,000 people, when this goes phase 2, and like you said, you're going to drop little hints that make it go viral, again, there's going to be millions of people. There's going to be 10, 20 times this minimum. Now, new and emerging technologies such as virtual reality, augmented reality have been creating the buzzwords since quite a few years now. They made their way to mainstream conversations, so much so that keeping up with these terms can seem daunting at times. They're not even talking about crypto. Although these technologies came from different places and they have different functions, they can still make use of some similar technologies. The present-day technology has come a long way from thin cardboard discs to today's VR and AR. In fact, AR and VR are increasingly gaining popularity with each passing day, thanks to the heavy investments from giants such as Facebook, Google, Samsung, and many others. Moving on after this ad, the Global Augmented Reality and Virtual Reality Market Research Report provides an in-depth overview of the industry, including market segmentation by type, new content, by devices and equipments, and by country. That was a really long sentence. Analysis of the global market with special focus on high growth application in each vertical and fast growing application market segments. Vertical growth. The one thing that I actually do not like that the developers have said is that they're partnering up with a bunch of different companies, which is great. They were small, they needed to, but it's not vertically integrated. They don't have their own companies doing like. Now I get it. You're not going to have like a PayPal in your back pocket. You're not going to have a Square in your back pocket. Cash App. Partnering with all of these different companies for payments, which is fine. But they're also partnering with a different company for, their help desk. Like I'd like for them to do this internally, because internally at least, you could do everything in-house. You don't have to have, okay, we're dealing with this people here. The person that's not in the company made a mistake, but you can't, tap the back of the hand with that person. You have to deal with their boss, and maybe that. That boss that they're dealing with, that person that made the mistake, that's their brother-in-law, that useless brother-in-law that just is a no good, useless person, and that they're just going to keep working there because that person won't fire them, and because they're not going to fire this whole company just for that one person. Like, okay, just make sure it doesn't do anything important. Make sure it just, empties the garbage or whatever. Now, that's what I don't like about that. I'd like it if they were more vertically integrated, and they probably will over time. That they're definitely going to have the money, but right now, this is one of the things I hope that would change in the future. Now, it includes detailed competitive landscape with identification of the key players with respect to each other type of market, in-depth market share analysis with individual revenue market shares, and top player rankings. Top player rankings, right now, that would probably be, Aria Realty, Dorkslayer, Tech Ops, Guidebook Gaming. I'm missing people. I think E2 Land or E2 The Boss, one of them sold, that they had like 100-something thousand. But a lot of the top 10, top 50 players, they have like $3 million just between top 50 players. Aria Realty being one of them. Me not being one of them, I have like 50 grand in there. Not a lot, not too much. Definitely not what they have. Now, impact analysis of the market dynamics with factors currently driving and sustaining the growth of the market, along with the impact of the short, medium, and long-term landscapes. Basically, this means that they're saying that essentially that this is their model. 43% a year, but they're going to rethink this model every single year. Like, oh, all right, well, last year they did 50%, because that's probably what they're going to do right here. Growth of 50% this year minimum. Honestly, a lot of it's just going to be with Earth 2. I guarantee you, the person that wrote this does not even know of Earth 2, and if they did, they would rethink their math. That is what I 100% believe. Competitive intelligence from the company profiles, key player strategies, and game-changing development, such as product launches and acquisitions. Now, the acquisitions is a big thing as well. We've been talking about other companies buying Earth 2. Facebook, Microsoft, Sony, all of these other companies. Google, Apple. But with this company gaining tens of millions, probably hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars in the future, okay, well, they're going to have some money to play with. And what's going to happen? They might acquire other companies, other startups, saying like, you know what? We like your idea. Come work for us. Implement your ideas in this game. We really like it. That's what they'll probably do. Not saying they're going to be sharks. Not saying they're just going to cut out all the competition. Competition is healthy for things like this, but it just makes them a player on the board. Now, after they have like, a couple $100 million, they could afford to be like, hey, you could either like Operation Paperclip. In the military, if you don't know what it is the U.S. after World War II. They go to these German scientists, all like, gunned up and ready to go, and they'd be like, all right, you scientist geeks, what you're going to do is you're either going to come work for us or be put in a cell. What's it going to be, bub? And then at the end of that, the scientists are like, well, okay, well, I'm just going to keep doing my work. I'd rather do that. And not that Facebook would take these independent companies, throw them in a cell, whatever, but like many of you have said, and what I've learned from all of you guys are pretty much on the same page, saying like, I don't want any other company to take over because it will change. It'll become just about profits. It'll just become about something else. Whereas Earth 2, the developers, they're nerds like us. Like, there are peeps. If anyone who chatted with them in Discord, there are people they like hanging out with. Like, we would go out and have a beer together. We would go out and just be friends because that's, we talk about rugby, and Shane's kid playing rugby, just doing that. But the other companies out there that seem like drones. They seem like if anyone's watched Fairly Odd Parents, comment down below. Where they have those pixel guys are all in suits, and then it's just not fun. Like it's not the rest of life. It's just soul sucking stuff that they're worried about. They're just worried about profits because they're a publicly traded company. Worried about the next 90 days because that's the next quarter to please their shareholders. But Earth 2 doesn't have that. Earth 2 is like, no, I want this to be fun. I want, I don't care if it's gonna make a lot of money by default. This game just by default is gonna make a lot of money, and the early adopters like us are most likely going to reap the good rewards of the plants that we have sown. I messed up that analogy metaphor, but what they'll do to other companies, Earth 2, is say like, listen, you can go, they'll XYZ, augmented reality company. Listen, you can go and take a little bit more money from these guys over here, and after, for those of you that don't know, if you have in excess of $50,000, like after your bills are paid and covered and no debt, and you have $50,000 extra, or you have $100,000 extra, your happiness does not change. It does not. Money does not bring you happiness. What brings you happiness is the people in your life and love and just what you do for love, where you feel accomplished. But whether you have, whether they're talking to these companies, like, listen, you can make an extra couple $1 million, $10 million with them. You can do that. Or, your baby is going to change. Your game is going to change. You won't be in control anymore. Or you can come work with us. You could even open your own company underneath our umbrella. You could implement your own game inside of our world, be protected by our umbrella, and just work at your trade. We want you to do what you do best. We don't want to curb you. We don't want to put any red tape. Oh, that's not going to please the shareholders. Don't do that. No, we're our own privately owned company, and we're like you. Choose freedom. And I guarantee you that those companies say, yeah, I'll choose freedom. Tesla and SpaceX. Just perfect example, and I'll get right back to the article in a minute, but Tesla and SpaceX, they are going to their, each graduating engineer every year, the top 2 places that they want to work for is Tesla and SpaceX. It doesn't matter that Amazon or Apple or any of these other companies are trying to say like, hey, we'll give you more money to come work for us, be an engineer for us. Doesn't matter that GM is saying like, no, they don't care about money. Some people don't care about money. They care about how they feel at the end of the day. They want to solve the world's problems. What better way for coders to say like, hey, I want to go and make the most impact. I want people to see my work. Then work for Earth 2. Something that's going to change the landscape. Something that's going to change the world. Like a lot of writers that used to proofread Shakespeare's work, they would put in their own writings, their own lines into his plays. They didn't tell him about it. They didn't take credit for it. But they did that because they knew that his work was legendary. And they knew that his work would go on for hundreds of years after he died, which it did. What do you think these coders are going to do? These nerds like us, they want to go where what everyone is playing. They want to make a difference in as big a difference as they can. And that's with Earth 2. So, moving forward. After that, the report says, determine prospective investment area based on a detailed trend analysis of the global augmented reality and virtual reality market over the next years. They want to gain an in-depth understanding of the underlying factors driving demand for different and augmented reality and virtual reality market segments in the top spending countries across the world and identify the opportunities offered by each of them. Basically, they're trying to understand us. They're trying to understand memes. They're trying to understand. They can try, but we have the advantage here. We have the advantage of saying like, okay, while Citibank and Fidelity and everyone else focusing on Bitcoin, which is fine, we can absorb all of these tiles of Dubai and everywhere else now and buy them cheaply and then hold on to them forever. This could be generational wealth right here. Again, what do you think the world is going to be in the next 20 years? Yeah, you're going to need a place to live. But a lot of it's going to be what property do you have in the real world? What property do you have in the virtual world? That's where this is going. That's where mass adoption is going. And the world is actually catching up. If Bitcoin wasn't such a huge thing, if they were still ridiculing it, if they were still saying like, nah, Bitcoin's never, and they were still bashing it, I would say, okay, you know what? We have like 30 or 40 years. where before they try to come into virtual reality. But no, they're going to Bitcoin now, and that is the gateway. That is the gateway to the virtual reality and black market stuff, darknet stuff. Obviously, virtual reality not to be associated with the darknet. Just Bitcoin is the key. And once they get that key, once they have a large sum of that key, just in a couple of years, where they own a lot of it, the majority of it, what comes next? Okay, well, maybe Ethereum, maybe Alice, maybe all of these other, Omi. There's on OpenSea, there's Pokemon NFTs. They're not stupid. They are going to find out about this, and they're going to come in, and this is our chance right now to get in before they do. Moving on to the article. Strengthen your understanding of the market in terms of demand drivers, industry trends, and the latest technological developments, among others. Also, identify the major channels that are driving the global augmented reality and virtual reality market, providing a clear picture of future opportunities that can be tapped, resulting in revenue expansion. It's only a matter of time based on that last thing. I'll read that again. They want to identify the major channels that are driving the global augmented reality and virtual reality market. That is us to a T. Providing a clear picture of future opportunities that can be tapped, resulting in revenue expansion. That is Earth 2 in black and white right there. They are going to come, and I'm putting everything I can into this game now. Again, I'm not putting into Tesla anymore, even though that's still a good buy. It's very undervalued. I'm not funding any high-risk lending deals with my high-risk lending company anymore, even though I'm very good at that, and it's a lot of interest. I'm not buying any more Pokemon cards. I'm actually liquidating a lot of my collection, so I can go into one of two things. I'm going into two things. The top Earth 2 is in the top 2, and it is not number 2. I love you all. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. I love you all. Goodbye. Meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow.